Hey there everyone. My favourite band at the moment, and I'm not just saying this, is Public Service Broadcasting. And the artistic, creative director person of the band, I don't know what I'm supposed to call him. This is Willgoose Esq from the band. He's the man behind it all, and he's joined us here today at the Royal Society. It's a band with a bit of a difference. You do have a kind of archival element to your music, don't you? Can you sort of explain this to people?
Yeah, it's quite a heavy archive element actually. The samples that we take from old footage and old films kind of form the backbone of our songs.
Guidance. Go. Control. Go.
Our most recent record we took samples from NASA audio collection and a whole load of BFI, Russian ETV stuff, and used it to try and sort of retell the story of the golden period of space race, 57 to 72.
It's really, really good. You have to listen to it. We'll have links underneath the video. But today, I have something very special for you, Jay.
I'm excited.
We're going to take you on the race for space, but through the Royal Society archives. Oh, and by the way, guess who's coming with us? It's Keith! Come on!
The Royal Staircase, like Wembley in reverse.
If you're good, we'll show you in that room afterwards where all the maps are.
Really?
Jay's really into maps, Keith, so...
Oh, right.
Nice fit?
They're all right.
That's your chance to say like a glove.
I was going to be much more geeky and say, because you keep the right fingernails quite long for guitar playing, a bit tight on that hand. This hand, fine.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't want to burst through with my razor sharp.
I don't want to damage the money, but all right.
I feel like I've got to do my museum walk now because I've got these gloves on. Kind of.
Are you ready for this?
I am.
Are you going to have? Do you want to have a guess?
Where
does the race for space start?
In my head, this is something to do with Sputnik because it's not a million miles away from the diameter of it, but it's not quite deep enough to be.
Indeed. I mean, Sputnik, I think, was over 50 centimetres in diameter.
58, I believe.
Was it? I thought it was 57.
Are you talking imperial or metric centimetres?
Here we go.
Oh my word.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Liking it?
Yeah.
Shall we get it out?
That's what you call a custom-made case, isn't it?
It is a custom-made case. There's a little extra thing here. We'll just put this to the side for a minute. There we go.
Is that a circuit diagram?
It is a circuit diagram. Control yourself.
Oh my word.
One thing at a time. Bad news is, Keith and I have spent a little bit of time trying to figure out exactly how this came to be in the possession of the Royal Society. We haven't really succeeded, have we?
We haven't, no. They recorded quite carefully the historical donations that the Society received from the 17th, 18th and 19th century, but not this kind of thing. So it wasn't considered historical at the time it was given. But now, of course, we think it's quite lovely.
So in summary, anyway, this was probably a gift from some Russian delegation. It was probably some little propaganda gift. But we don't actually know, but it's still awesome. There is a button. Let's turn this around. Give it a press.
Yep.
No. We don't know, but we like to think it used to make the beeping noise. The beeping noise you love so much.
You will now hear the voice of the Russian moon.
And as you pointed out, you actually seemed more interested in that than the model, so...
I really like the sort of level of geekiness that this implies. Well look, isn't that a buzzer?
Well, that would add credence to the whole beep thing, wouldn't it?
I think it would.
We have much further to go in our race for space, so we're going to leave Sputnik behind. For those who don't know, by the way, Sputnik was the first satellite ever to orbit the Earth. It was launched by the Russians. We probably should have mentioned that.
October the 4th, 1957. There you go.
This man knows. What's the next big moment in the race for space?
It's got to be Yuri.
We've got you covered.
Really?
You ready for some Yuri Gagarin action?
Very excited.
The whole planet knew him and loved him.
Gagarin.
Alright, here we go. We have Visitors to the Royal Society. We think they actually had this book specially made because Yuri Gagarin came to the Royal Society. They thought, wow, we're going to need a better visitors book. The Visit of Major Yuri Gagarin to the Royal Society, 13 July 1961. Top of the heap, top left. That is Yuri Gagarin signing the book. We'll come back to this book later because we have something else from that visit I want to show you. And here are photos from the day Gagarin visited the Royal Society. First man in space. He went up in April 61, so this is July. This is not long after he's done it. So they're already flying him around the world on the big propaganda tours. Here we go. Now, a lover of old archive and film is going to like these pictures of the cars pulling up. Look at that. We can see the Royal Society written there on the building as well.
Hey,
Look at
there
that.
he is.
How charismatic is he?
I think that's part of the reason they chose him, and also because he was about 5'3", I think.
He's a good-looking dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is probably the 1961 equivalent of Keith showing him all the archives and the old documents. Viewers of Objectivity will know what Gagarin's looking at there. That is Isaac Newton's telescope, which we have featured here on the channel. Yuri Gagarin touching the same telescope I touched. I may as well have been the first man in space. And there we go. It looks like at the end of proceedings, he's off to his next gig. So this is a former officer of the Royal Society, a former president of the Royal Society, as a matter of fact. So Cyril Hinshelwood was his name. So this is the program everyone got.
That's his signature again, isn't it?
Yep. He obviously went up to Gagarin and said, would you mind? And there we go there, right under Howard Florey, is Yuri Gagarin's signature again on the program. Coffee will be served in the Society's library, where the visitors will meet members of the Council of the Royal Society and where some historical and other exhibits will be displayed.
Lovely. Yes, he was probably there for about 45 minutes, wasn't he?
He probably was, but we've certainly eked all the life out of that visit.
Good work.
We're going to go back to that book we were at before. You already know what's coming.
Yep.
So Jay, we're back in the Visitors to the Royal Society book. We saw Yuri Gagarin's visit at the start. We had all sorts of, International Year of the Quiet Sun. We've got the Queen's signature, so that's not a bad effort.
Yeah.
But then, the 6th of February, 1964, we had a visit from the first woman in space, who you also have a song about on your album.
We do indeed, yeah.
Do you see what I'm doing here?
This is remarkable. It's a remarkable tie-in, yeah.
It's almost like we planned it.
Top quality research going on here. Do I have to thank you or Keith though?
Mainly Keith.
Mainly Keith. Thanks, Keith.
I'm just the one taking all the credit. You want to tell people whose signature that is?
It looks like Valentina Tereshkova. I'm not sure if it's Tereshkova or Tereshkova.
This is actually the raw reason I asked you to say it.
Right, okay.
So that I didn't have to say it.
Let's just call her Valentina. Yeah.
Valentina, which is also the name of the track you used.
Yep.
That's why you did it, because you didn't know what to call the track. We're going to jump to the finale now.
Okay.
We're going to go to the moon and Apollo. So for that, we've also got to go up a flight of stairs because...
Seems appropriate. Yeah.
The moon's a bit higher, isn't it? So let's do that. Jay, this is Rupert, who's another librarian here.
Nice to meet you.
I can't remember which drawer it is. So we have some Apollo pictures here that have been presented to the Royal Society, covering some of the highlight missions.
Wow.
Apollo 8.
Wowzers.
Your Apollo 8 song, by the way, is my favourite one on the album.
Oh, really? Thank you very much.
1 minute, 30 seconds away now from loss of signal. Our distance away from the moon now, 401 nautical miles. Velocity reading 7535 as we continue with this flight of Apollo 8.
So,
look at that.
So here is a brilliant Apollo 8 picture for you to admire.
That's extraordinary.
They didn't land, they just orbited around the moon. Imagine what it must have been like to see that with your naked eyes.
That's terrifying. Yeah. Absolutely terrifying.
It's signed by Frank Borman. He was the commander of Apollo 8. Big deal astronaut. I can't tell if that's the far side of the moon or not. It looks like it kind of might be, but...
Can I look on the back? See?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, here we go.
Image, yeah.
No, we don't know exactly what that is, but we can figure it out, and I'm sure there's a few Apollo nerds that will help us as well. We will go back into the drawer here. You didn't actually cover this mission on your album per se, but it's my favourite Apollo mission.
I thought about it. I did think carefully about it because of the Genesis rock.
Exactly.
We wanted to try and keep it so you could fit onto one side of a 90-minute cassette, like
fair enough.
Proper album, so 42 minutes.
So this is Apollo 15. It's signed by all 3 astronauts that were on the mission. Dave Scott, Al Warden and Jim Irwin. They must be on the way back from the moon, getting ready to dock, and you can see the little docking doodah there. Which brings us to Apollo 17.
Indeed.
1972. It was the last time, and is still the last time, humans set foot on the moon. Well, here we go. Here is our final item. Your album ends with Apollo 17, as does our little video today. This is a photo taken
Look at that.
during the mission of Apollo 17. There is the Earth peeking past the moon. So there you go.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You did it with music, and in Objectivity style, we did it with objects.
Good work.
All right. Now, when I read the index card upstairs, basically what came across is that this would be a letter from George Everest to Herschel saying that he went to a meeting, he missed out on seeing Herschel, and he was just writing a letter to say, sorry I missed you. I thought that was going to be pretty boring. Turns out, it's a bit more interesting than that.